before we begin our journey across the Badlands, there were a couple of things I bet you thought I was going to forget. And I did, but I reminded myself in editing the earlier videos. The first is, at a certain point, we drew a danger card. Let me see if that one's even still up. No, it was a while ago. The danger level for the Bandit Pass was raised, and I even said, Bandit Pass has been raised, and I flipped it from a 5 to a 6. But guess what? It was at a 4. The thing I flipped was Slaver's Pass. So Slaver's Pass went from a 5 to a 6. It should have been a 5. And Bandit Camp should have gone from a 5 to a 4. So there is the true state of the board. I fixed that. The other thing, we just fought a battle. Amongst the things we killed in that battle were a few goblins, a salamander. The Fishy Confectioner is going to use her gourmet ability to eat one of the goblins that we defeated. Now, she has to make a constitution check. If she fails, she'll be poisoned, which will bring her hit point total down to 12 from 14, which gets her within 1 health of death, 1 wound. So here she goes. She's eating a goblin. She needs a 7 or less. She is not poisoned. She heals up the lower of the 2 dice. I'm guessing, does that change when you get Gourmet Mastery? Nope, still the lowest die. So she heals up 2 points and is not poisoned. And then finally, I almost didn't finish the turn, we have an encounter. The Derelict Flying Jar, which I will show you here. May or may not be a UFO. We'll see if it actually gets to flying. A strange and enormous vessel, like a jar crafted by titans, lays half buried in rubble. Its surface elaborately decorated with intricate glyphs. The party may search it or ignore it. If we search it, a couple of things can happen. Glowing green gas can seep from it and poison us. We can trigger a rock slide, which can trap us. More likely, the ancient flying jar hums and springs to life as you climb inside. So what will happen is this thing will take off from here and potentially let us fly somewhere, which would actually short-circuit our trip across the Badlands. We could just fly to the Bandit Camp. If we roll that result, it'll take a magic check, which means our Void Witch will take the wheel and probably get us to the Bandit Camp in short order. And then finally, we might find inside some epic loot. So let's go ahead and search the flying jar. It's a D6. Here we go. A 6, which means we find inside epic loot. The adventurer with the highest perception, so either of these, but we share loot, so let me give the epic loot deck a bit of a shuffle. Frankly, I'm a little disappointed. I would have rather flown to the Bandit Camp, but let's see what epic loot we get before I decide I'm disappointed. All right, inside the flying derelict jar, there is a black sword. If you recall, I accidentally dealt myself this earlier. So you lose a point of morale. It uses strength, which seems like something the Fishy Confectioner could use. The attack ignores endless, so even witches can't prevent something getting killed by this. If you destroy a monster, you recover wounds. I like the sound of that. So we will definitely have the Fishy Confectioner equip a black sword, which lowers his morale. Now, here's another situation where the game, being loosey-goosey with the rules for when you can equip and swap items, I can equip this in combat and then unequip it when I recover. So my morale will go from a 5 to a 6. It basically means my morale is only a 5 in combat, which seems to defeat the purpose of the drawback. But them's the rules. So, this is awfully thematic. Haunted by the wailing ghost of her dead child, the Fishy Confectioner wields a black sword and a night cloak. Our Fishy Confectioner has basically become a Nazgul. Now, before we move along the path between the Goblin Fortress to Last Chance, I'm going to go ahead and rest. And I'm going to rest in bold stance because I'd actually like to go ahead and get into a combat and pacify the Goblin Fortress down from a 4 to a 3. So we're going to boldly rest. Let's do everyone's recover check. We are not outdoors, so the fugitive fop doesn't mind sleeping here. She will not have to deal with her accustomed to comfort drawback. She succeeds at her morale check and heals all the way up. The morale check for the Void Witch is a 6. She fails colossally, so only heals half her morale, which is a 3 to a 0. And the Fishy Confectioner unequipped the Black Sword. I mean, that just seems cheesy. Anytime I make a morale check, I unequip this? I suppose so. So actually, we'll just say that the Fishy Confectioner keeps the Black Sword sheathed. And therefore, in her first round of combat, she could whip this out as her quick action. She doesn't have any other quick actions to do, so that seems convenient. So she keeps it sheathed until she needs it. And by the way, you can only freely equip and unequip things during the map action phase. We found this during the encounter phase, and therefore don't have it equipped yet anyway. So against a morale of 6, of success, which heals up 6 wounds down from 9 to 3. We are resting indoors. We can't hunt for herbs. We don't have enough experience points to spend. Actually, do we? The Fishy Confectioner could upgrade Gourmet, Black Market, Looter. So actually, while we're resting, the Fishy Confectioner is going to spend 8 experience points to earn this skill here, which lets her manipulate her dice if multiple people are targeting her. So that was our rest action in the Goblin Fortress. We are now drawing danger. A 4 against a 4. So let's see, first of all, Skull Bridge, which is right here, goes from a 5 to a 6. Now we're resting in bold stance, so if we had succeeded our check, we could have brought the number down to encounter something, but we can't get around this 4. So, here's what happens at Skull Bridge. Fiends crawl forth from the unknown depths of the vast hellish chasm, spanned only by the ghoulish Skull Bridge. So there will be an encounter, and we will fight 4 monsters. Our encounter is with if we were in a perilous space, it would be a geomancer. We're not in a perilous space, however. So it's only a Scrag milker. A goblin laden down with cages full of large leathery winged scrags offers you a frothing mug of Scrag nog. You may drink, fight, or ignore him. If we drink, each adventurer may pay 1 gold piece to make a constitution check. Passing means we recover wounds. If you fail, you're poisoned, and we can fight. If nobody drinks, we ignore him. If we ignore him on a 1 out of a 6, we increase the danger level. And if we fight him, he's carrying 1 gold piece. He seems relatively harmless. Now, first we have to fight these fellows before the encounter fires off, so we will set aside the option to drink Scrag milk, and we will draw 4 Badlands monsters. First we have a Moblin. Never even heard of that. This little fella gets a +1 if there are other goblins present. There likely will be. And he gloms onto the fellow with the lowest strength, which will be our Void Witch. Next up, a more bad flyer. These things aren't bad enough, now they're flying around. Annoying, meaning you must target it. Actually, no, that's taunt. Annoy means you must guard, and evade means if you roll doubles with a melee attack, you miss. You'll note that attack of 2, this thing's never going to hit anybody. Lowest agility means our Fishy Confectioner. A more bad crawler. Now you'll note these Morbads are demons, not goblins. So our poor little Moblin might not have his horde bonus. Although this fella's going to get a demon horde bonus. To the character with the lowest perception. And then finally, a Slagworm. Drain means it heals up if it does damage. Attacks the person with the highest constitution, which will be our Fishy Confectioner. None of them has an arrival ability, so we start off with the Fugitive Fop. Let's see, what kind of armor situation do we have? If we take out the Morbad Crawler first, it will eliminate the horde bonus it is giving to, just the Morbad Flyer, which goes from a 2 to a 3. So the person most likely to hit someone is the Moblin. Let's have the Fugitive Fop fire the weighted pistol at the Moblin. And we will keep the tranquilizer darts loaded. By the way, these little tokens I've put here, just because I'm wondering if I ever missed these, they're just to remind me when I roll doubles where they might have an effect. So ignore those for now. So a 6 is a hit, does 5 points of damage, ignores 1 point of armor, and kills the Moblin. Which now frees up our Void Witch to do an assault because she doesn't have to defend herself and doesn't have to worry about powering this Mystic Shield. So if anybody had substantial armor, which no one really does, we could use Decay. But I think she's better off just using her Sacrificial Dagger. Oh, it's about time to roll out the Barbed Whip. That's pretty thematic. A Void Witch slinging a Barbed Whip. She will attack the Morbad Crawler. It uses agility. It has a quick action, which she can do, in addition to her regular attack, to shut down an evade ability. So just for the heck of it, because you never know when you're going to roll doubles, she'll do a quick action against agility to try to take evade off of the Morbad Flyer. That passes. I'll just put that blank marker to show that its evade ability doesn't apply. That was her quick action. Her regular attack is an agility roll against the Morbad Crawler. That is a hit for just 2 points of damage. 1 point of armor intercepts one of them, so a single point of damage on the Crawler. The Fishy Confectioner will defend as a quick action, equipping the Black Sword. Oh, and the advantage of the Black Sword is not only can we heal wounds if we kill something, but we also become invigorated. And invigorating is a +1 to strength, which is what the Black Sword uses. So as you kill people with it, it gets easier to kill people. All right, so in defensive mode, using a strength of 7 for the attack, an agility of 7 for the defense, we will attack the Morbad Crawler. We failed at defense, but we can intercept 1 attack for 6 points of damage. We did succeed at the hit. So let's intercept, I guess, the demon, which is attacking with a 4, and we therefore take 3 for 5 points of damage. Yikes. But at least we took out the Morbad Crawler. Doing 5 points of damage will kill that fella. And on to round 2. For round 2, this evade ability is back. The Fugitive Fop. Let's attack the Morbad Flyer with the weighted pistol. A miss. The Void Witch using the Barbed Whip on the Morbad Flyer, rolling against her agility. That is a hit for 3 points of damage. 1 point of armor means only 2 points of damage. The Fishy Confectioner. Oh, we killed something with the Black Sword, by the way. I don't want to forget my Black Sword. So what that means, if you destroy a monster with this attack, recover wounds equal to its XP value. So that goes, so we do the defense, yeah. So that heals that up, and you become invigorated. And the Fishy Confectioner. And the Fishy Confectioner gets that. So now rolling her attack against a strength of 8, her defense against an agility of 7. Failed the defense again. We did succeed the attack. So let's see, let's block the Slagworm. We take 2 points of damage from the Flyer. and 4 points of damage to, who did we say we were attacking? I don't guess we did, but we'll finish off the Morbid Flyer, which heals 1 point of damage. On to the third round of combat. I've been forgetting these things. The Fugitive Fop, using tranquilizer darts with the weighted pistol attacking the Slagworm, is a hit for 5 points of damage, which kills it. So all in all, a good battle, but once again, our Fishy Confectioner is wounded. 2 points of experience and 2 points of gold for the Fugitive Fop. 2 points of experience and 2 points of gold for the Fishy Confectioner. A loot roll of 2 for the Fugitive Fop, and 2 attempts for a loot roll of 2 with the Fishy Confectioner, neither of which hits. All right, having finished those guys off, let's now have an encounter with a goblin merchant selling Scrag milk. So for 1 gold, we can drink and make a Constitution check to heal D3 wounds. Let's pay a gold. The Fishy Confectioner is making a Constitution check against a 7, succeeds, and heals a D3 wounds. Heals 2 wounds. And the Scrag Milker is on his way. So the temptation is to rest again, but, oh, and by the way, this lowers down to a 3. I feel like these are manageable wounds, so we're going to go ahead and mosey out, but in cautious stance onto the path to last chance. So there was our move action. Let's now do a danger draw. The Sunken Village. All right, well, this isn't good news. We've made our danger check. We're not going to encounter anything. But the problem is the Sunken Village, it's at a 6. So this means the Hand of Doom is going to come out. And to stop it, we are just going to go ahead and spend luck, because that's what luck is for. So the Fugitive Fop spends 1 point, and the Void Witch spends 2 points of her luck to go from 4 to 2. So the next time the Hand of Doom rolls, we at this point don't have enough luck to stop it. All right, so that remains a 6. Oh, shoot, I forgot to eat the goblin that I killed after the battle. So if you guys don't mind, I'm going to back up, make a Constitution check for the Fishy Confectioner, and if she passes, Gourmet means the lower of the 2 dice is how much she heals. If she fails, she's poisoned. She passed and heals 2 points from eating. What did she actually eat? From eating a Moblin. Nom nom nom. If you want to know how a Moblin tastes, just ask the Fishy Confectioner. So no encounter, no monsters, because we are in a space with a danger of 2. We drew a 3. We are now going to continue in cautious stance. Now I could be exploring as we go, but I'm not going to do that. We're just trying to get here and finish this off. So now we're going to, in cautious stance, go into Last Chance. Last Chance is not a settlement, but it is in... Oh, you know what I'm just realizing? So I was thinking before, the Fugitive Fop has the performance ability, which basically means she can do puppet shows. And I was thinking you had to be in a town to do a puppet show, because of course you don't have puppet shows out in the country. But it's actually not in town. You have to just be resting in bold stance at a settlement, which is what that flag means. So what I'm getting at is we could have been doing our puppet shows in the Goblin Fortress, but oh well. At any rate, Last Chance is not a settlement, although it is indoors. We are going to draw our danger. So we easily pass our danger check, but here's what's going on in the Rotting Swamp. Eerie howls of stalking beasts echo through the endless gloom of the Rotting Swamp, which turns it from a 4 to a 5. We now move, continuing in cautious stance, to the path between Last Chance and the bandit camp. We make our danger check against a 2. However, we are now going to reshuffle the danger deck. This isn't what brings the Void Hound, right? No, that's your current space is when the Void Hound emerges. So we take these. We take these. We shuffle everything back up. The good news in this situation being, of course, that the danger level doesn't raise anywhere. The bad news is places like the rotting swamp and the sunken village are back in play and might get drawn. And of course, the next time something hits a 6 or goes above a 6, this fellow is coming out. We don't have enough luck to stop it. All right, I'm going to remember to do a puppet show this time, by golly. We now, in bold stance, let's stay in cautious stance, mosey into the bandit camp, which has a danger level of 4. We draw a 2, so we failed our danger check, as it were. We don't have an encounter because there's no encounter icon, but we will fight 3 monsters. We're now in the Highlands, so that's 3 Highlands monsters. Not very welcoming of you, bandit camp. Oh, look at that fella. Nachtdreck Slicer. Looks like some kind of a terrible surgeon. He's certainly weird, I'll give him that. He attacks the person with the highest strength, which is our fishy confectioner. Bird riders. They actually ride around on birds. Attacking the person with the lowest agility, which is also the fishy confectioner. And then, along with the slicer, it is a knight. So we've run into a couple of Nachtdrecks that are weird. And his command ability, is it he? Yeah, that looks like a dude. His command ability gives +1 to other weirds, which will be our slicer. The highest armor, which is no one has armor, we'll go ahead and put it on the fishy confectioner, right? That'll free up the Void Witch to assault. All right, so let's see. These guys have, so that's got 2 points of armor. That's going to be annoying. And he's giving a +1, turning the Nachtdreck Slicer's attack from a 4 to a 5. The bird riders are the least of my problems. So both of these are a 5, as long as this is alive. So let's actually go ahead and see if we can kill the Nachtdreck Knight on the first round. We will start with the fugitive fop assaulting with the weighted pistol and tranquilizer darts. Rolling against her agility of 8. That is a success. It does 5 points of damage. Oh, and once again, this would have been awesome. We would have tranquilized the Nachtdreck Knight, except for the fact that we killed it. 5 points of damage against a Nachtdreck Knight, which has 2 armor, would normally be 3 points of damage, but the weighted pistol ignores 1 point of armor, so the Nachtdreck Knight is killed. We now have the Void Witch. These are both at a 4. Let's go for the Nachtdreck Slicer. Using the barbed whip against her agility of 8. That is a hit for 4 points of damage, which is knocked down to 3 because of the slicer's armor. The fishy confectioner will defend, equipping the black sword. So with a strength of 7, a defense of 7, they both hit. The defense succeeds in intercepting all the damage incoming. The attack finishes, finishes the Nachtdreck Slicer. I don't think I specified, but that's what we were going for. And heals a point of damage. Oh, and by the way, that Invigorate applies until we rest and lose it. So actually the fishy confectioner was rolling against a strength of 8. So that was an assault, that was a defense there. On to the next round of combat, the fugitive fop shooting the bird riders with tranquilizer darts, because why not? That is a hit for 5 points of damage. Doesn't quite kill it. And this might be a little bit cocky of me, but the Void Witch is not going to attack. She is instead going to let the fishy confectioner try to finish off the bird riders, which will heal up a point of damage. So the fishy confectioner rolling with a strength of 8, an agility of 7 to defend. Oh boy, so that's a failure, but since we're guarding, should have done that. Since we're guarding, this intercepts all the damage. The strength hits, because it's an 8, finishes that off, heals a point of damage, and we're even more invigorated. So the really cool thing, I'm just going to go ahead and do this, is the bandit camp is now less dangerous. We get 2 points of experience and 2 points of gold for the fugitive fop. And 2 points of experience and 2 gold for the fishy confectioner. Now for loot rolls, the fishy confectioner will do her first. She gets 2 loot rolls of 2, neither hits. A loot roll of 2 for the fugitive fop, that is a hit. So the fugitive fop finds, oh, a flash bomb. Looks a lot like a shrapnel bomb. This is a quick action, unlike the shrapnel bomb. Discard and each monster is dazed until your next turn. Dazed meaning it attacks at half strength. However, each adventurer in your space has to make an agility test or they're blinded, meaning they lose a point of perception. Let's give that to the fugitive fop because she's the one who needs her perception for attacks. So if anybody's going to be flinging flash bombs, it needs to be the fugitive fop who knows to close her eyes. So that was our combat in the bandit camp. We have now arrived. We resolved this. That was our encounter phase. So our encounter phase in the bandit camp is done. We are now going to rest in bold stance. Recover checks. We are outdoors, believe it or not. Even though it's a settlement, the fugitive fop does not like sleeping in the bandit camp. Well, actually, let's see if she doesn't. If she fails her morale check, she is demoralized. I don't know what to do about that. That's a 2, right? Well, you know what you do is if you can stack another die, you don't have to re-roll it, so we can't. Same thing. So the fugitive fop passes. She doesn't become demoralized from sleeping outdoors. The Void Witch, no reason for her to make a check. The Fishy Confectioner makes a morale check. I will have unequipped. Let's see, can I? So let's see, if I'm trying to cheese this and unequip it, I can, as my last action, killing that monster, if I didn't do another quick action, I can unequip this as my quick action. Which means if the battle ends before the Fishy Confectioner gets an action, well wait, if you can unequip this freely during the map action phase, that's right now, that's when I'm resting, so I'm unequipping this before I rest and make my morale check. I don't like that, but like I said, them's the rules. So a morale of 6, we failed, so we only heal up half our morale, which is just fine to get us back to 0 wounds. However, we are no longer invigorated. This is gone now that we've rested. Okay, this time, by golly, I'm not going to forget. The fugitive fop is going to do a puppet show, making agility, magic, or strength. Obviously, it's going to be a magic. Oh no, why did I think if it had been the Void Witch? So using agility, she's going to do a puppet show. I don't know why I figure it's a puppet show. She could just be doing cartwheels. And if we pass, we gain gold equal to the lowest die. So here we go, agility of 8. Ugh. I seem to recall the only other time we remembered to do the performance, we also failed. All right, fugitive fop, work on those cartwheels. Okay, other things to do when you are resting in a settlement. Let's go ahead and explore. We want this to become part of our caravan chain. We'll have the Void Witch. She'll check her perception of 8. We succeeded, which then puts an explored token right here. Now that that's explored, we have a lovely caravan chain stretching all the way from the bandit camp to Pigskin Port, in through the Witchwood, Gutfish Ford, and the Goblin Fortress. A lovely chain of trade and commerce and goods and cultural ideas being exchanged. This is just lovely. We're going to get 4d6 per character. Actually, you know what? That seems a little excessive. Hold on. Yeah, okay, that did seem a bit much. Each adventurer, well, yeah, okay. Each adventurer gains 1 luck, easy enough. And your employers pay D6 gold per settlement connected by the route. This must be divided amongst the party as evenly as possible. Oops. Yeah, 4d6 per character would have been a bit much. Still, I'll take 4d6 gold. But first we have to get back down here to Pigskin Port. So we rested here. We're going to draw danger. We are not in a plague space, so we succeeded our danger check. We drew a 4 against a 3. However, this is not a good sign. If you recall, our last plague outbreak was in the lowlands. So the way plague works is it stacks up. So when you draw an outbreak, everywhere there's a plague, for instance in the graveyard, gets another plague, which makes it more likely that you catch plague from this particular space. And once a space gets 4 plague, anytime more is added, it spreads to adjacent paths. Sort of a pandemic concept. So the first thing we do is in the lowlands, we add this plague, then we roll a d6 against these locations to add another plague token. So rolling a d6, a 2 means, uh-oh, this isn't good. Brutalberg itself, the capital of the First Reich, gets a plague token. Now the good news is the danger level doesn't rise anywhere. So no monsters, no encounter. We are now going to fast travel to Pigskin Port. Because why not? When you fast travel, you make a constitution check. If you failed, you are fatigued, which just means you can't fast travel until you've rested first. So real quick constitution checks. The fugitive fop, constitution of 6. Fatigued, constitution of 5. Not fatigued, constitution of 7. Fatigued. All right, so this is actually kind of pointless because we're just about to rest anyway, but we'll make sure to put the tokens there. They're tired. Drawing a danger level, we are in Pigskin Port, which has a level of 4, so we're not going to encounter anything, but we will raise the danger level in Witch Hill. What's going on at Witch Hill? Glad you asked. They say by moonlight you can see spectral witches dancing and cackling in the ghostly flames high atop haunted Witch Hill. So Witch Hill goes from, that's Witchwood. Oh, Witch Hill goes from a 1 to a 2. So yeah, witches, but it was a very small witch celebration. So we fast traveled into Pigskin Port. If there'd been an encounter icon here, we would have had a settlement encounter, but there's no icon there. I'm resting here. We don't need to worry about any checks. Nobody's damaged. We are not outdoors, so the fugitive fop doesn't have to worry about being demoralized. Let's now do some town business. Oh shoot, before I do, all right, I meant to spend my gold improving the bandit camp from a 3 to a 2 for reasons that'll become clear in a moment. But if you guys don't mind me backing up and just burning 20 pieces of gold, that's one of the reasons that I rested boldly here when I explored. I also wanted to dump some of my excess gold. So the fishy confectioner, we're just going to zero her out from a 15 to a 0, and then someone else has to spend 5 gold. We'll let the fugitive fop go from 9 to 4. And that then would have turned this to a 2. And one of the reasons I'm doing this is, depending on what quest we do next, we want to try to civilize the bandit camp. So I meant to spend my gold at that. It will have demoralized the fishy confectioner because she spent down below 10 gold. So we give her that token. All right, so then, and then I have now traveled, gone here. I'm now in the middle of my rest action for being in Pigskin Port. So that also frees up room for us to carry more gold. We are going to, for turning in the quest, get 4d6 gold. But before I do that, how about a puppet show? The fugitive fop rolling against her agility. Okay, she does a puppet show, gets the lower die roll in gold, gets 1 piece of gold. Let's also do some black market activity. The fishy confectioner can draw a card from the loot deck. If it is an ally item or service, we can buy it. We're also going to do the trade action, but this is separate from the trade action. So So it is an item. It is a dart rifle. Oh, and I'm just realizing, okay, I was wondering, why is a dart rifle any better, or what distinguishes it from a weighted pistol? Oh man, this is bad. Oh, shoot a monkey. Ugh.